What's good? What's happening with y'all, man? We got game theory. I solved the oldest Pokemon debate. What debate is he talking about?
Pokemon sizes make absolutely zero sense. The fearsome Charizard, yeah, it stands at a measly 5 foot 7 inches. That is a couple inches shorter than me. The formidable
That's
Lucario,
crazy.
he's just 3 foot 11. It's not even tall enough to get on most Disney
Wait,
rides.
11?
And Furret, you know, the Pokemon that's based on a ferret, is supposedly 6 feet long. Not sure I want that thing running
How's Charizard smaller than that?
up and down my pant leg. Anyway, I think
No
you
way.
get the point. The sizes listed in the Pokedex are all over the place, but there's one Pokemon that takes the insanity and turns it up to 11. The float whale Pokemon Wailord. For 2 decades, this guy has sparked fan rage, so much so that it's even spilled into the realm of a full-on academic paper.
What? University of Leicester? What? Wailord, the biggest Pokemon in the franchise, has a mass that implies it less dense than both water and air. 536 kilograms of food. What?
And all of it stems from one simple question. Is Wailord lighter than air? Seems like a weird thing to be asking about
way.
your 47-foot-long whale, right?
No way.
Wrong. Once you look at the rest of the numbers, you see how this has become one of the most controversial topics in all the Pokeverse. So today we're going to be coming up with
I
a
didn't know
definitive
this.
answer. Has the internet hit rock bottom, or is everyone else, including this Pokemon, full of hot air?
No way.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, where today we're going back to our roots, applying real-world research to fictional worlds. Break out the Pixel Rulers class, because today we're overanalyzing the disturbing science of Pokemon. And
Get
no,
it.
I am not talking about how a tiny Skitty and a giant Wailord are meant to breed. Not touching that one with a 10-foot Alolan Executor. At least, not yet. Maybe one day. Nope, today I'm talking about the fact that Wailord is light. Like, stupidly light. As I mentioned in the cold open, Wailord's Pokedex entries confused fans since it was first introduced in Gen 3. You see, Wailord's weight is listed at 877.4 pounds, or about 398 kilograms. That's no doubt heavy, one of the heaviest Pokemon in the entire
That's his name, Aggregon? I f with this Pokemon, bro. He's a cool looking Pokemon, I ain't gonna lie.
series, but it is comically light when you compare it to your typical whale. Blue whales, the thing that Wailord is based on, usually weighs somewhere between 290 and 330,000 pounds, or between 130 and 150,000 kilos. Practically 350 times the weight of your standard Wailord. So these guys are heavy, but not too heavy, you know?
Snorlax.
However, where things get controversial is when you factor in Wailord's other measurements. Wailord's quote-unquote height is listed at 47 feet, or 14.5 meters. He's massively big for not a lot of weight, prompting many fans online to speculate that Wailord may in fact be the lightest Pokemon in all the games relative to his size.
No
Some have even
way.
gone so far as to say that Wailord is so light, he's literally lighter than air. The argument's been so heated, in fact, that it eventually spawned a real research paper from a real university in the UK. And their conclusion? Yep, Wailord is, in fact, lighter than air. Strap a string on that guy, you
What?
got yourself a big old whale balloon. Reddit, though, they weren't buying it, because, of course, they weren't. It's Reddit. This prompted a massive post arguing the exact opposite, that no, Wailord is not lighter than air. So today, loyal
Bro, the fact that this is a thing is absurd, bro.
theorists, we're going to be putting an end to this
I'm a fictional
seismic debate.
character?
We're crunching the numbers ourselves to see who was
That's
right,
crazy.
who was wrong, and who was super nerdy. It was all of us. All of us were super nerdy. Will Wailord be sailing the 7 seas or floating amongst the clouds like a Thanksgiving Day parade balloon? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Morty time.
Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty.
So, how does one go about proving whether a fictitious whale is able to float through the air? Well, it all comes down to a little scientific principle called density. Density is the measure of how much mass something has per unit of volume. If we have ourselves 2 cubes of equal volume, one made of lead and the other made of wood, the cube of lead would weigh more and
Yep.
thus be more dense. If I then drop that cube of lead into a fluid that's less
Gonna
dense
sink.
than it, say water, the cube will sink to the bottom. If I drop the cube of wood into the water,
Probably
meanwhile,
float a
it
little
would
bit.
float since
Yeah.
wood is less dense than water. It's all pretty self-explanatory stuff. It's also pretty darn easy to calculate. All you need to do is divide the mass by the volume and bam, you've got yourself the density. Classic equation, D equals M over V, DMV. The one place where dreams go to die. So let's just take ourselves an easy
Fuck
example
that
here to
place,
get
bro.
warmed up. Voltorb. Voltorb is a nice round sphere, so figuring out its volume should be quick. According to the Pokedex, Voltorb has a height of 0.5 meters or 1 foot 8 inches. Its radius is half that, so 0.25 meters. And the formula for the volume of a sphere is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So plug it in our values, you get
This math is crazy, bro. I don't. I'm sick of math, bro. I was nice at it, but man. And it gets complex every fucking year, bro. You feel me?
At a volume of 0.065 cubic meters. Now, all you need to do to figure out Voltorb's density is take that listed mass of 10.4 kilograms and divide it by the volume that we just got to get a density of 160 kilograms per cubic meter. Comparing that to the density of air, which is 1.293 kilograms per cubic meter, we can see that Voltorb is definitely not floating away on the breeze. But the density of water, it's actually much higher, 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. So Voltorb would actually float on the water, despite him being a giant metal ball, which means in real life you'd probably be able to teach your Voltorb how to use surf. That being said, this is all pretty easy math, right? Here's the problem with Wailord though. Unlike Voltorb, who's a perfectly shaped sphere, Wailord is a blimp-shaped whale, and finding his volume is not as easy of a plug-and-chug solution. So let's just take a look at how both sides of this Pokepuzzle tried to solve the problem. First, there's this paper written by William Farmer, a student at the University of Leicester who wrote an undergraduate research paper in the school's Journal of Interdisciplinary Science Topics. I gotta say, love the fact that this debate's been going on for so long that the kids who used to argue about it on the playground are now old enough to write their own published research papers about it. Truly, William Farmer, you are a man after my own heart. If you're looking for a job, feel free to apply for Theorist script writer. Anyway, he calculated Wailord's size using pixel measurements in a classic Theorist move, and he used a cylinder to estimate Wailord's base shape, claiming that the overestimates here, these empty parts where the cylinder is bigger than the body, those would help account for the parts that stick out like his tail and his fins. The volume of a cylinder amounts to pi r squared h, so pi times the radius of the cylinder multiplied by the cylinder's height. So with a Wailord cylinder height of 14.5 meters and a radius of 2.855 meters, he figured out that Wailord's volume would be around 370 cubic meters, making the density 1.08 kilograms per cubic meter, which is lighter than air at 1.293. So case closed, right? No. You see, despite this coming from an academic journal, the paper makes a lot of assumptions about Wailord's shape and volume, and this got Reddit eager for a more precise solution. This post comes from the R Pokemon subreddit by user PetscotMiju, who also used pixel measurements, but this time refined Wailord's estimated shape. Instead of just reducing him down to a simple cylinder, they instead decided
now you're getting complex, bro. Because you got to get all the shapes and shit, right? You gotta get everything.
Add a hemisphere to each end of the shape. That way they didn't need to explain away as much empty space. They also recognized that pixel measurements can be slightly inconsistent across different games, and so they tried to correct for that as well. This led their estimate for Wailord's radius to be smaller, 2.2 meters as opposed to 2.8. Their cylinder length then was 8 meters, leaving about 2.1 meters on each end for the tail and the head. In total, this refined equation where they added up the volume of the cylinder and two hemispheres gave them a significantly smaller volume, only 166.24 cubic meters, less than half what the academic paper had proposed. Divide Wailord's mass of 398 kilos by 166, and you get 2.39 kilograms per cubic meter, which is nearly double the density of air and a vastly different conclusion than the academic paper. With numbers like that, your float whale Pokemon here, he ain't floating anywhere.
He ain't floating anywhere, bro. And what type of sense does that make? You know what I'm saying?
So, which is right? Well, off the bat, the Reddit approach seems to be the more accurate method. While both options are assuming certain parts of Wailord's shape, the Reddit one is taking precautions by doing multiple calculations to account for the nuances of both his shape and the differences in pixel measurements across games.
Boy, look at these games, bruh. Oh my god. Played these. Haven't played the newer ones. Bro, the Game Boy Pokemon is top fucking tier, bro. Emerald is probably, I mean, they're essentially the same game. I ain't gonna lie. That's to say, like, no, literally answer this for me. How are these two different? In Emerald, throw Emerald in there. And then same thing with Leaf Green, Fire Red. And I think it was those two, right? Leaf Green, Fire Red. That's it, yeah, because there wasn't a blue one for that version of Pokemon. But what was the difference on these besides what these two Pokemons? You feel me? But Emerald was like the middle ground. I don't know. Emerald for me was just like better. I don't know why if it's the same game.
games. I gotta say it, my friends, I am on Team Reddit for this one.
Me
But
too, me too.
you guys know I'm not gonna just leave it there. These calculations, they're not perfect. Between its little grooves, its crevices, and the giant fins and tail, there is no perfect shape to truly describe what a Waylord is. It's not a cylinder shape, it's not an ellipsoid shape, it's just a Waylord shape. This is where our two density debaters get into trouble. But what also complicates things is that the scale of Waylord has never been consistent. Since Waylord is so much larger than just about every other Pokemon in the game, it's always shrunken down so it can fit within the confines of the system, the battlefield, or the screen. And
Sorry, bro.
it's always shrunken down so it can fit within the confines of the
That is beautiful. Oh my god, I miss my Game Boy, bro. I gave it to my cousin. I gave him all of my. I gave everything to him, bro. That Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby, Leaf Green, Fire Red. I gave him all of that, bro. I miss this shit. I kind of want to get this to revisit those Game Boy games. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But it's so hard to find a good condition one, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But you gotta pay hella money for it, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with this. But I fucking miss this shit, bro.
system, the battlefield, or the screen. And with Waylord being so large, any amount of estimation error gets exaggerated to become a whale-sized problem. Without factoring in that sort of inconsistency, who knows? You might conclude something insane, like saying Wario is 10 feet tall or some
Fart rocket physics with a
ridiculous like that. As a result, my dearly beloved pixel measurements, they might not be the best tool to give us the most accurate numbers in this instance. So how do we get the most accurate results and settle this debate once and for all? Well, in the wise words of Patrick Starr,
We have technology.
since the release of both the Reddit post and the research paper, Waylord has made the switch to the Nintendo Switch with Pokemon Sword and Shield. In the Isle of Armor DLC, we finally get to see Waylord.
Bro, I'm sorry, but like, they gotta up the quality on Pokemon, bro. I feel like it's always like pixelated 720p looking. Like, how does the Game Boy version, in my eyes, the Game Boy versions look better than this, bro? Ruby, Fire Red, Sapphire, all of that. No, not Sapphire. Not Fire Red. I feel like Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald looked better than Leaf Green and Fire Red. But Leaf Green, they look like this, bro.
In all his blubbery glory, just as Arceus
gotta drop the
intended,
high
which
quality
means that we
shit, bro.
finally have access to a full 3D model of this Pokemon. No more pixel measurements based on weirdly angled sprites required. This means that we can take this new 100% accurate 3D model and import it into a 3D modeling program like Blender. While this program is typically used for creating 3D models, it also allows you to do things like measure the volume of your, or in this case, Game Freak's creations. Therefore, as long as we have the proper scaling figured out, we can use Blender's built-in tools to get the exact volume of a Waylord. No estimates required, including the tails and fins. Now, up to this point, everyone's been using Waylord's Pokedex height to measure his length, which sounds confusing, but this is actually a common quirk amongst the Pokedex. Sometimes it means vertical height, but other times, especially when you're talking about long Pokemon like Waylord, it means length. But just to make sure that we didn't get the math wrong, I wanted to be extra careful. So I took a look at every depiction of Waylord that we've ever been given, like the size comparison tool from Generation 4, or the player character standing next to Waylord in Sword and Shield. Given that the trainers in the series are usually around 5 foot 4 inches, there's no way that Waylord's 47-foot height in the Pokedex could refer to anything other than his length. So, with that one settled, I was able to make sure that our Blender whale was scaled correctly. And by creating a mesh for him, we can use Blender's volume calculator to tell us that Waylord has a volume of 182.8557 cubic meters precisely. No estimates, no assumptions, that is the exact number. From there, all we have to do is divide Waylord's 398 kilograms by his volume to get a definitive density. Drum roll, please.
Damn, bro.
Really?
Fuck that shit up.
Gotta admit, I don't know what we gotta do at this point. I'm perturbed by the lack of a solid drum roll, Yossi. Fix it, man. Pull out all the expenses next time. I want a drum roll that will melt minds. Promise? Yossi, I put you in the shaving episode, so you better promise me. Thank you. Where was I? Oh yeah, his true density. Waylord's true density is 2.18 kilograms per cubic meter, which means that I can now say without a shadow of a doubt that Waylord is not lighter than air. Even if you don't include Waylord's tail in the overall calculation, it still wouldn't be enough to get him airborne. And honestly, all this checks out.
I know those people who believe that he was lighter than air are pissed right now.
Waylord.
Hey, you cannot argue with this man right now, okay? This man debunks everything. You cannot. No, bro. Matt Pat is always right. Okay?
Being lighter than air would have broken the other information that the Pokedex tells us about him. Waylord's Pokedex entries going all the way back to Sapphire.
Fucking Sapphire, bro. I really missed that game, bro. That's insane. I had so much Pokemon. I was trading Pokemon. I had so much, bro.
Tell us that Wailord can knock out prey by the shock of its splash, which, you know, is gonna be pretty hard to do when you're so light you can't even hit the water. So there you have it, my friends. The debate is finally squashed. Wailord is not lighter than air. Reddit was right. Not completely, obviously, but their conclusion was pretty darn close for an estimate. I guess we'll just have to leave floating off to the sky to Team Rocket. And now with that one out of the way, tune in next time when we calculate how the density of Cosmoem would end the known universe. But hey, while the Pokedex is a great tool for trainers like you to keep track of the heights and weights of every Pokemon, maybe it should also have something to help trainers keep track of the most important thing, their finances. As we've said time and time again, being a Pokemon master ain't cheap. Pokemon masters are broke.
What?
Pay them bills. Fortunately,
so if I, what a fucking way to introduce the damn sponsor, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pokemon size makes no sense. Literally the first sentence, and I already know it's going to be fun math episode. Too much math, bro. Too many weird looking numbers, long equations. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it, bro. Well, he figured it out. You feel me? It's just like, it didn't even make sense, bro. I never heard of this, and even from the rip, I'm just like, how? You know, like that doesn't make sense. I don't know, bro. It's a game. It's a character. You feel me? It's all fictional. But that shit being light in the air is damn near impossible, bro. You know. But hey, they tried it, bro. You know, they tried it, and we got the answer finally. Like I said, Matt Pat is always right. You cannot argue with this man. All right. Let me know what y'all thought, though. That's my reaction. If y'all enjoyed this video, like, subscribe if you haven't. I'm out.